Today we're going to take a quick look at IDEA, Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 and dual enrollment. As you already know, IDEA is special education law. It was initially known as PL 94-142 or Public Law 94-142, and the number is just the numbering of the law in the system. Under special education, children are served through the Office of Special Education Programming and Services out of Washington, D.C., also known as OSEP. The law focuses on children specifically with a disability in the education setting. The federal law is funded by the federal government along with the states. However, when the law was passed in 1975, the federal government indicated that they would pay up to 40% of state costs. That has never come to fruition. Even today, we're only at 22% of funding from the federal government to the states. The law covers children who have a disability specifically in the 13 categories that we will discuss in this course. However, under the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, we find what we often hear as Section 504. Section 504 is a section within the Rehabilitation Act. The Rehabilitation Act of 1973 was the first civil law act to ever be passed in this country. It prohibits discrimination against people with disabilities, not just in education, but also in the workplace. And anyone who receives any kind of federal funding, including private schools, universities, if those funds come to that institution, they must, by federal law, implement Section 504, in our case, for their students. It works in tandem with the American with Disabilities Act in an effort to make sure that individuals with disabilities have access to the same venues, the same education, the same workplace as those without disabilities. As I mentioned, it is a civil right law against discrimination. It's overseen by the Civil Rights, or the Office of Civil Rights, OSER, as it is often referred to. This does not only apply to children with disabilities under the 13 categories, but any area of disability or health that prevents a child from fully accessing their education. There is no funding associated with Section 504, and it is not special education law. Many times school districts will have a Section 504 coordinator, and that's not a special education person. Sometimes it is, but please keep in mind that this is not special education law. There is no funding associated with it, and special education services are not connected to it. Now, you might ask yourself about dual enrollment. We have IDEA for special education services. We have Section 504 for educational accommodations. And can a child attend a private school, be in an incarcerated situation as a youth, be in a home hospital program, and still receive 504 accommodations and or IDEA special education services? The answer to that is you have to look at your state. Some states allow dual enrollment, where a child may go to school at a private school for part of their day, and then they go to the public school for part of their day to receive special education services or 504 accommodations. So does your state allow dual enrollment? It's an interesting conversation. Take a moment, look at your state website, and find out if your state allows dual enrollment.